very small group this year today. We normally have the whole room crowded and we have so many people, but I think the weather has really let us down. And something to reflect for us that maybe next time we do it in term 1 and term 3 when it's a bit more brighter. But that's okay. Thank you for coming. You all have come and given your precious time, and thank you Divya to come and support us. Sunil, educational leader, and Anas, our 3-year-old kinder teacher, they're going to present outdoor environments.
Hello everyone, my name is Sunil Kumari and I'm educational leader and a 4-year-old kinder teacher at Goodstart Clayton, and my colleague Anas, he's a 3-year-old kinder teacher and we work together in the kinder room. So today I'll share some practices that we use at our center to uplift the education of the children in the outdoor environment, because mostly it's always the indoor, everybody just focus on majorly, and we forget sometimes that outdoor environment is as important as the indoor environment. So first of all, we'll do the acknowledgement of the country, and this is our kinder group, kinder children, so they are doing the acknowledgement of the country. So now, as I said, that as an educator, sometimes we think that outdoor environment is just letting the children go outside, letting go of their energy and just like free play, without much focus on the intentional teaching strategies and planned experience outside. But the research study reveals that the indoor play does not, on its own, provide the sufficient opportunity for the young learners to engage in the physical play consistent with the health guidelines. They need at least 3 to 4 hours of play every day to meet their overall health and development. Also, outdoor environment is really important and very critical because it drives their mind and body, providing exposure to the nature and experience with the natural materials. If we are just inside, they won't be able to explore the environment outside. It's raining, they don't know how it feels when they're out in the rain. If it's windy, what it feels like, how it sways the trees and the leaves everywhere. Like if it's like cloudy, they know, oh, is it gonna rain, because they can see what's the color of the clouds, and if it's gonna be a clear sunny day. So they really get that exposure to the nature. And also the outdoor environment is really important because it offers a world of wonder and possibilities for the children's learning that is not really, sometimes doesn't happen indoor. And yeah, so outdoor learning matters for the children's learning and development. So space and design. So before setting up outside any learning experience, we need to really reflect on the individual needs of the children. We have like 3 to 5-year-old group, right? They're not all the same. Every child comes with their own strengths, comes with their own, the areas that they need support. So we think that how do the children experience the different spaces or the areas that we set up outside? Are they just reflecting the indoors as well as outside? So how does it differentiate? Because it's outdoors, so it should be different from the indoor environment. So next is like, how does the outdoor environment support each child's development? Like we saw the bikes before in our yard, so they're not one size fits all. So we have the different sized bikes for our children, because we have some children just moved from the toddlers, with their heights and age, and we have some 4 to 5-year-olds. So we have small bikes for the young ones, we have the big bikes for the older ones. Same is with the balls, we have a different variety of the balls. It can be the texture, it can be the size, it can be the weight of the balls, because some children like to play with the light balls because they're not too heavy. Some children play like soccer balls and they like to kick around. So we really keep the individual needs of the children in mind. Just take an example, there are some like sensory requirements of the children as well. So we have outdoor can be very noisy and very overwhelming because, for example, like I myself don't like too crowded and too noisy place. So we have the cozy area and a cozy nature environment outside. They just sit and calm themselves down. And the next question we ask ourselves is, in what ways do I or we as a team create areas of inquiry, curiosity, challenge, wonderment, and the movement? What ideas are emerging? So we use the EYLF as a guideline to set up our experiences. So we look at all the learning outcomes. We talk about the identity. We think about the connectedness to the nature. We think about their physical well-being, their learning, and their communication. So when we are setting up our spaces and the learning experiences outside, they are not just the teacher initiated. We consider every single aspect. It can be the children's strengths, it can be the feedback from the parents. It is intentionally planned with the intentional teaching and learning strategies from the team. We collaborate together and we talk that how we can create the areas that enhance their inquiry and learning. And then how can I support their ideas with provocations? Sometimes they say, why do we need provocations? We have the resources there. The children can go and just explore themselves. They can create themselves, but what is the role of the teacher over there? So if we set up the learning experience with the provocations, that will extend their existing knowledge, their learning, and we use the reference books as well in our areas because we don't know everything, and I am not ashamed of saying that to the child. I'll say, if they ask me a question, I'm not sure, let's look together in the book. So provocation helps there, and if you have the books set up with the areas, that is a great resource for you to extend the children's current thinking and learning. So Anas will take over from here. How do we set up different learning spaces that meets all the social, emotional, language, STEM, physical, creative, and community connections, learning of the children?
So, socio-emotional area, we all need that at the end of the day. So, calming spaces, and as we saw the pictures and the videos before, we do have our calming spaces and also the book areas. So both of them can function to give the child that aspect of learning connected with their socio-emotional development. How so, like they might be engaging for this particular picture here. It's a bit grainy, pardon me, but we do have that traffic light which I showed you all before, and it's quite a hit with the children. So I just gave it to them, okay, let's see what you're going to do with it. So they get on their bikes, they make a traffic intersection, they come back inside, and then we have our costumes back there. So we have like police hats, the fireman hat, and firefighter hat, and the doctor's coat and everything. So they just put that on, and they were reenacting that scene where they're trying to pass through, and they're like, okay, I'm a police officer, you have to stop here, you have to look at the signal. Is the traffic light turned green, or is it still red? Okay, you can't pass through, or wait for the pedestrians. And I didn't have to give them any input whatsoever. I just stepped back and I saw, okay, let's see what they're going to do, and it turned out to be a whole different dramatic play that they're connecting with themselves, with the peers, and they're engaging with them. They're trying to figure out, okay, what are the things we might need, and in a way it's connected with our indoor and the outdoor. We have the costumes here. They know, okay, I can get something from inside and I can take that back out, and I can engage with those resources and come up with a game, an experience. And we also do focus on sensory learning. We have a sensory water tub, we have a water trough, a bigger one. So lots of water for them, lots of paint for them. We have jellies, slimes for them to engage with, some sort of provocations. They can just put their hand in there. At the end of the day, they have it all over their shirt and their hair, but they like to engage with them, especially if you have children who have certain special rights. They tend to engage well with emotional resources, sensory resources, and we do keep lots of them available, especially in the outdoor. Okay. Language and literacy. So we know that, okay, we have a writing table inside, we have maths table indoors. They are engaging, they are reading. So how about the outdoors? Are they just outside playing, or are they really learning something worthwhile, or how are they engaging? How is the outdoor environment contributing to their emotional needs? Plus, on top of that, the language development, the literacy development. So coming back to that, a game as simple as hopscotch, what are they learning there? So it does contribute to their literacy development. They are learning to count. They're jumping on one leg. You can go in there and you can ask them, oh, what are you doing? I'm hopping. How are you hopping? On my 1 feet. Okay. So, and then we have numbers down there. They'll be counting 1, 2, 3, 4. And as they count, they're jumping. And before you know it, there'll be another group of the kids, and they will encourage the other peer, and they'll be counting loudly, like 1, 2, 3. Okay, you have to finish before I reach 10, or you have to climb over the climbing frame so that I can get on top of it, and then they'll be starting to count. So, and then we also our gardening space. Okay, we have some provocations like parts of plants. They are labeled. Small things like that, photosynthesis. Nothing big, nothing like your 10th grade science, but simple thing. Plants take in carbon dioxide, they give out, okay, oxygen. They also give out air, they also breathe. So you can do all those little experiences in the outdoors. You can actually take a plastic bag, tie it on a leaf when it's a sunny day, and before you know it, you'll see some condensation inside the bag. So that shows you that the leaves are breathing, and that's like a whole other world for the children which open up. So it's a sense, you're giving them that sense of wonder, and you are making them think, you're trying to make them evolve into future scientists and everything. So that's how you bring in language part of it. So you are engaging with them, you have reading areas outside, you have calming spaces outside, you have games outside, but over there, it's up to you as an educator. Okay, I'm gonna use some teaching techniques, some scaffolding, or any other technique which you might, so that while they are playing, while they're engaged in their play, you can make use of that time and input your perspective, input some learning angle into their play and development. So again, coming back to STEM. So that's what I was talking about. There's just another grainy picture, sorry. So we had this plant outside, we tied up a plastic bag and we waited for a while, and before you know it, we had condensation inside. So it gives you time to like explain to them, okay, what's really happening in here. Because when I sat down with the children and I asked them, what are living things? Who are living? So they might say, oh, we are humans, we are living, birds are living. So how about the plants? They are also living. So that's new to them. Okay, how are plants living? They don't move, they don't talk. That's one way to show it to them, and it just instills a sense of caring into them. So they understand, okay, there's a world around them that they have to care about. You're going to open up avenues into sustainability, into environmental respect. And we talk about acknowledgement to country. It's not just reading some syllables every other day mundanely. It's about instilling that into your practice. So we are talking about here's the land, the sky, and that's it. But what about the land? What about the sky? So you do some experiences which takes them back, and we will link it back to the Aboriginal perspective, the First Nations perspective, how they are so attached with the land. The land is giving resources to them, and we have to be careful and we have to be nurturing towards plants and animals and life which is all around us. That's how you just engage, and of course it comes under STEM, it comes under socio-emotional. So one particular experience would cover many different aspects. So it's up to you what you really want to choose to teach them that day and focus on as a major perspective. And then of course you have different offshoots of learning, which can be anything which can be socio-emotional, which can be about language, which can be about literacy, but it all comes to a head, and what are you trying to teach them that day, so you can focus on that particular part and then link different learning. So it gives you an avenue to explore different options. So you continue the same thing the next day, but instead of say focusing on plants are breathing and giving out air, now we are going to focus on what do we do now with the plant, so how do we take care of the plant. So now we are going to focus on the nurturing part. We're going to link it back to well-deaf outcomes, which can be done quite easily from here. And then you can extend it with gardening. You can give them seeds, and next thing you know, you're gardening and they're digging up the soil, and if you're lucky, you might find a worm down there or some insects, and then you can link it to your worm farm. And then you can talk about, okay, what are the worms eating? We have worms, so they are living, we are eating food, what do we feed them? So it just connects one after the other. Okay, see, creative arts, yeah. So we have drawing, artistic creative table inside, but we also have that outside. So how are they different? So inside they have quite a few resources, like a bit too many, I would say. You have glitters and gums and glues and papers, so many different things. But what do we do outside? How are we going to extend the same art table, a drawing table outside, and what are we going to evolve that into? So we give them lots of different natural materials which they can play with, and they can be out there in the outdoors. You can give them larger sheets of paper. For example, here they had quite a large paper. They were trying to paint the flags for the Aboriginal and the Torres Strait Islander. So you do those things, and you're again trying to connect that experience with the outdoors. So the First Nations people, they're connected to the land. It's about the outdoor, and you want to do a drawing experience. You're trying to do it outdoors. You can take like barks. If you see behind you, there's a tree bark. It was done by another educator before me, but it's a really unique perspective. So when we think about it, the Aboriginal people, they had this, in their culture, they would take off the sheets of bark from the trees, they might paint it, they would use it for boats, and there were so many things you can introduce into the children. You can teach them, okay, this is how things used to be, and this is how I'm going to, as an educator, connect it back to learning. And again, with the resources, you need to have quite a few resources. It should be accessible, readily available, and the children should have that freedom of using them, making a mess, trying to go in there. And like you have shells, we have so many shells out there, but they might last a week or so, but that's okay. How expensive are they? They just let them take them home.
Because we use Rescue Resource Center, so we try to get the resources as recycled and loose parts, and that we can use again. And so we go to Rescue Resource Center in the Bayswater, where we get lots of abundant resources. So yeah.
So it also forces you to think, okay, I need to get more things for the children. Where can I find them? Rescue Resource Center, it's a good
Without
example.
spending lots of
Yeah, without spending lots of money. You spend some and you get lots of things. Physical active play, so it's not just about the climbing frames, that's just one aspect of it, but it's really good. It forces the child to use all their limbs, and they're learning different things, cross motor skills, grabbing, holding, they're learning to be brave and trying to take another step in their physical learning journey. But it can also include the trikes which we have, or my fun part, what I would like to do would be playing some games with them. So you can play soccer, basketball, anything. We don't really need to follow the rules. It's not about following basketball by the book, but it's just about introducing them different games that are out there. There's more than footy, there's basketball, there's soccer, and there's so many other things. And we all can play with them. So sometimes I would just take some tape, draw it on just stick it to the ground, and I'll just give them a simple version of it. Okay, this is a goal, there's another goal, play. That's okay, community connections. So again, well-deaf very important, connecting back to the community. Over here we had someone come in from Bunnings, lovely lady Rose. She helped us to set up another veggie patch which we wanted to get done for quite some time, and so it gives you this opportunity. You just shoot an email to the local community. It might be anything. If you want to connect with the library or you want to do some gardening experience, you ask a Bunnings, and they're more than happy to help you. They might come up with some resources for you, save some money. And so she actually came with some soil, worms, extra worms, bedding from the worms, the veggie patch itself. We just wanted her to come in and help us so that we can better look after our vegetables, because most of them were missing. I had an eggplant, I had my eye on it, but after a week, it was growing up well, but one morning I come in and it's gone. I don't know who took it. I'm trying to think, is it a possum or rat? I don't know. So anyways, she came in with lots of different vegetables and actually helped us plant them and taught us how to better look after them. And you can learn many things as a teacher. It's always a learning journey. The children are learning, of course, but we as adults, we tend to have a narrow perspective as we grow. But children have this wonderful open sense, of learning. They'll ask you every single question there is, and it just forces you to, take a step back, think, and be like, okay, what's next? What more can I do? So yeah, that's one thing which we have, and Bupa library, that's also another avenues of community connections which we do. We have weekly Bupa visits, so you go there, you sit with the elders, so it instills that sense of attachment, like you have your grandpas and grandmas, elderly people, and there's a lot they can give to us, contribute to us with their experience, with their lifelong journey.
And here is one of our parents. He's a soccer. He plays soccer. So we try to.
Footy.
Footy. Yeah. So we collaborate with the families with their strengths and what do they do, and we ask them if they can come and share their knowledge.
We got some free tiny footy balls for the children. So, another bonus.
Engage. Free footy balls.
Okay, you save money next week. Okay.
So I'll take off from here. So explore, as Anna's mentioned, that it is really important to, the teacher's role is very important to extend the children's learning, their language, their literacy, their social emotional learning. And here it says language is a powerful tool and sends a strong message about how we view children and our image of the child. So how many times do we use watch out